Hey everyone, this is part 3. I don't know how many times I have to do all these over and over again. But anyway, where did I leave off? Oh yeah, well these ones, the younger ones, or the older ones who got them, they don't realize that, people need them to use them, to pay the bills and stuff like that. It's like, paycheck. But those ones, like I said, they are probably a little older, but they don't realize either. But now they didn't know that whatever they do, it's all going back to them. I mean, but what I said in part 1 and 2, again, do you see the patterns and why we need to put an end to these ones? They don't realize and they don't think before they do anything. Like I said, right? But now with that, it is affecting everyone, but we'll be okay. And it's only going to affect them. And see, everything works out for us, except to those ones who do stupid stuff, and they'll get stupid prizes. But they don't realize it's not going to be stupid prizes as they think, as the saying goes. They have no idea what's coming to them. They don't. They really don't know what is coming to them. And think about this. I've been putting things up, that I've gotten, and to warn others, all of us. And whatever it was, where it was from, to warn them that, and also warn them that they have ones around them where they are living there, and for everyone to speak up wherever it is, that they are making problems for all of us, not only in their wherever they are. See, since the beginning, I've been saying, and I'm speaking about ones, and I'm not speaking about ones who, is making it better for themselves. I'm speaking about the ones who are continuously doing, constantly. But the ones who are making it better for themselves, see, they learned. They probably had a light bulb and said, wow, every time I did whatever, this always went wrong. See, they learned. But those ones, they didn't. But as I said, these people are trying to put fear into everyone, especially about God and about everything. They want us to blame God because He is telling us where these ones are. And like I said, they do stuff, to whatever, they look here to see where, like earthquakes and tornadoes and all that, whatever, storms are coming towards them. So this way nobody knows they do stuff. This way it can go away from them and go wherever. Well, it's going towards innocent ones. And as I said, Spirit and God does not harm anyone. These ones want you to blame Spirit and God. But as I said, you know, these ones, you know, because they know that the karma is coming. So they're trying all kinds of stuff for everyone to blame each other and bring back the past. Also, as in, you know, how they, you know, I think it was recession. I forget what it was called. I can't think right now. But they want to bring that back. But you see, the past, they did survive. Yeah, some didn't. You know, ones lost their homes. They lost everything. They, you know, some moved, you know, to start over. Some couldn't take it, so you know what they did. You know, it was like, back then, you know, they handled it, and they handled more stuff better than we do, and we have more stuff. But they don't realize, you know, they tried everything. This way, everything is affecting all of us. But you know, those ones, they're taking one's lives. And back then, they took their own lives, and, you know, and it wasn't their fault either. But now, they want to make it our fault that things are going wrong. So, how does all this make sense? I mean, you know, like really. Once you've been doing stuff, hold it. Okay, sorry. It's like they want to bring back the past. I mean, you know. But like I said, how many and whys before more innocence? All of us gets in the middle. We need to put a stop to it. You know, it's like we're not in the 1800s or whatever year it was, where, you know, people were stopped, you know, for speaking up. But that even changed. You know, everybody solved things. I mean, today, things should be solved by now. And about, you know, our ancestors. I mean, they didn't care, you know, that they're in heaven. They say, most say, you know, oh no, they're not in heaven. There's no heaven. There's no this, there's no that. But anyway, But they should know who the ancestors are. But they don't care. How, you know, they don't care how they lived or survived, whatever. I mean, they survived. They had our parents. They had us. You know, the only thing that they care about is only bringing up all the bad and the stories that were added. You know, stuff like that. But if they didn't care then why is it that ones want to repeat? But again, you know, it is different. So, today or whatever. But they don't realize when they are trying to affect whoever and all of us, they are also affecting themselves. They don't realize that. As I said, make it all make sense, please. Now, you know, I hope this will help. And what are we going to do about it? You know, everyone is coming together as one. Like I said, somebody has to know, you know, someone, like, who owns places, you know, where everything's going on, who knows companies, bosses, you know, HRs, and etc. And I think it was in part 2, I said to call all them, you know, if you know people, especially where foods are being made, you know, if you know the owner, and, you know, all kinds of stuff. With everything that I mentioned, if you know somebody who works there, you know, someone get in touch with them and say, do you know what's going on? And if they do and they're not doing anything about it, because this stuff should have been stopped. But somebody needs to go to the right people. Because this is the only way, you know, something will finally get done. I mean, yeah, everyone don't know everyone. That's why I say everyone come together who does, you know, can help with whoever, you know, each one knows. You go to, each person go to whoever they know that works at places, works at, you know, all kinds of places. And who you can trust. You know, and make sure that these places and bosses, owners, and etc. know, if they actually know what's going on. Because what I mean is, you know, we need to work together. I do not have everything, I do not have anything against anyone. You know, if you are at any of these places or works at any of these places and you're not doing anything, then I'm not speaking about you. But start speaking up if you notice anything and people are doing stuff. It doesn't matter whatever they're doing. I mean, if they're lighting candles doing, to harm people and etc., etc. If you know a person who's doing that, well, then you go to the authorities. But in these companies, like, your providers, people are hacking in and stuff like that. If you know somebody that is the owner of, I don't know, I only know Facebook or whatever. But like I said, I'm not speaking about the ones, who work there and not doing anything. But we need to nip this in the bud. And like I said, I'm not speaking about you and saying you are one of these ones. I'm not saying that. I'm saying these ones are under our noses and putting us in the middle. We are not them. We do the right ways. We do not take revenge on anyone like they do. We do not harm and etc. like they do. We do right. We will get the truth out by letting also them, doing stuff, and they're turning on themselves, and they're making themselves in public to see, by their actions. We have to let them know that time is up. So, as I mentioned, welcome to, Sarah's team empire. Well, I mean, if you join my team, everybody's an empire. So whoever you get to join your empire and everything, I mean, all of us will come together. But anyway, so what are we going to do? People or anyone, tell them. Tell the right ones who these people are and what they're doing. And if you know who they're, trying to get at, but, they're making mistakes and they're affecting everybody also. But you get what I mean. And as the saying goes, you understand the assignment. But number 3 isn't really that long. But like I said, I kept getting cut off, or it wasn't recording, and etc. But we need to nip this in the bud. If you know people, like I said, speak to them. Because truthfully, like I said in the beginning, and I think it was in part 2, I'm on the phone from morning till 9 at night trying to get through to people, and I keep getting the runaround. Or it's like oh, well, you have to speak to this person, and then like they'll ask, oh, okay, well, what's going on, and blah blah blah, and they'll they'll sit there and lie. Oh, okay, I'll get it to the corporate or the right people, and I don't know what they're banging on, but it's like, I said, well, okay. And they said, well, I'm typing everything in this way it can be sent. And let them, look at it and blah, blah, blah. Well, it comes to a point where you check back because not one single person calls, and this is before, but when not one single person calls, and then when you go check back again and get someone, I said, can you please look at the notes, and did corporate or whoever get the notes, and why didn't anybody call back? And they said, okay, give me a minute. And there's not one single thing. There was never a ticket put out. And each time the whatever you call for, they pretend that they fixed it, but then, I don't know, an hour later or whatever, you go to check because you saw it, that it was corrected, but then, you have to look at something and you notice, oh, it's the same problem, but now it's more. How's that happening? And then you get, I don't know, each time you get transferred, you get a different story or a different whatever. Oh, it could be this. And then you tell the other one, and it's like, don't they write notes down, say, okay, they're having a problem, to make it short or whatever. This way you're not constantly repeating. See, that's not being, that's not communicating. And then people want to know how come they're getting fired because they're not doing their job. And really, I can guarantee not one, and I said this, I think, in part 1 or 2. 10 to 1. Not one knows anything what's going on. And if they do, and they're not doing anything, well, that's on them. They worked so hard, but if they don't care, and they worked so hard to build up their whatever, and then Spirit comes along because they knew about it and they're not doing anything about it, then that's their fault. I mean, that's how it goes. To me, if you own something or a company or, you have whatever it is, I don't care if you're a boss or not. Yeah, you're allowed to take off and, go on vacations and whatever, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. You get what I mean. But you also need to pay attention too, especially if you have workers. Or, you have to make sure that nobody, gets anything out, talks, about anything. This way people, like I said, people love to talk when they know that they're really not supposed to talk about it. Because, if you're with friends or whatever, you don't know who they're going to, oh, oops, I let this slip out, You know what I mean? I mean, things are going on way too much. And the thing is, how is it? And whatever's going on, it's like, okay, you know what? We need to do something. We have to go to the right people and find out if they know and if they got any complaints. Now, the other thing is, no wonder they took their phone numbers off where nobody can reach them. I mean, okay, granted. Okay, because there were so many complaints. But the thing is, something should have been done and changed and say, hey, okay, we got a complaint. Okay, let's find out why and find out what's going on. Right then, soon as number one complaint, or two at least, then you wouldn't have been, bamboozled or whatever with all these complaints. But no, now there's tons, and now there's, even more, because no one can get in touch with anybody. And this BS of, I understand between, data and, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But when people pay to have their information private, especially like, what do you call it? Like for phone books and stuff like that. Okay, it should be private. And how are people getting it, even when it's private? People need to stop selling people's information. Because I can guarantee, you continue, it's going to go back to you. I mean, 10 to 1, whoever does it, 10 to 1, I bet you don't sell your information, right? I mean, don't you realize that what people go through? No, you don't, because you're not in their shoes. People think that they're the only ones, and F the rest. The problem is, people, need to get away from, abusive, whoever, and they need to, be low-keyed or whatever. It's called, they need protection. But no, people give out all kinds of information and they get found. So what happens? You don't realize that, do you? You don't know what it's like to be stalked. You don't know what it's like. And who does go through it, they know what it's like. So mainly, everyone goes through something. Might be the same thing, but a little different. Start thinking about that before you start trying to ruin, a person's lives or whatever. But then, oops, just to get to them to do revenge, you hire people, that whatever. And everyone in all these groups, or whoever they are, starts making mistakes. Good. So, do you know why all of you are starting making mistakes? Think about it. Because You don't know who's up your arse. But you'll know. And you'll find out. And people have been. I mean, these ones have been finding out. Maybe if you looked around, you'll notice. Start caring about yourself instead of others. As in, trying to get revenge. Especially if something happened when you were real little. Okay, that's in the past. You can't change that. But you can move on and prove to everybody, you know what? I could do things. A lot of people don't lift people up. I mean, people should, and everything. But I get it. I wasn't around that. But I learned how to, lift myself up. Well, Spirit did. But you get what I mean. It is no one's fault, okay? People go through, dark stuff and you have to, realize that. And also, especially if it's in a relationship and your spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, is, constantly putting you down, constantly, hitting you and etc. Okay, it's like, please learn how to turn on the light bulb, quickly. That means that they're not right for you. Yours is out there somewhere. And you need to leave before it's too late. See, they keep you there because they're putting fear in you. You go make friends with whoever who will back you up. And if they try to lift a hand, what are they going to do with all them around you? And whoever you get around you, they will make sure that they will not come near you again. And that's how it should be. There shouldn't be fighting unless you have to, but you get what I mean. It shouldn't all the time be violence. Oh, this one did this. Oh, they're bringing this into it. Stop doing that. If you know you did something and you get stopped, but yes, authorities, I'm not saying all of them, but some, they do take their authority, way to whatever. But that needs to stop too. Because, I'm not saying it's the authorities, but there's people that are quick, trigger happy and all that and etc. Look how many lives were taken. Especially, that Charles and others. And those kids that were hanged. This is all uncalled for. Really. So, how many and whys? I explained it in the what I meant in number 1. So, what are we going to do? Let's start with, hey, we get all this BS. Oh yeah, we're working on it, with the apps. Okay, somebody hacked my 4 accounts, okay? And they're still trying to look for it. If they know who these people are, they can get it back. Because I know very well they're still using it. And they're hacking everybody else that I had. That is ridiculous. So again, what I said in my other video before part 1, if anyone asks for money or anything, it's not me. They're doing all kinds of stuff. And in part 1, I explained in the very beginning. And in part 2, what else they're doing. So it's like, we need to all come together. I don't care what party you're from or whatever it's called. I don't care what nationality you are, what color you are. Really? When was that? Back in, the 1700s, 1800s, or whatever? But didn't it stop in the 1800s something? Or something like that? It's like, really? Stop. So we need to we need to do something, because this can't continue. And also, maybe we'll well, my team's going to catch them, but and hopefully with the help of all of you too, but everybody stick together and, stuff like that. I mean, whatever happened to me before, I make sure that I get it out. If you see this name or, whatever, and if they start off like this, to, block them or whatever you do. But it needs to stop. And these ones are also trying to make everyone not trust each other also. But everybody can tell. And if people put things up that they're doing stuff, proud of them. But yeah, you will get ones who will just put things up to get views and pretend that they do stuff. Yeah, you'll get them too. But, karma will get them too. Not like these ones. But you get what I mean, and you can tell the difference. Okay? So stop putting people down. If you don't like a person and you're complaining how they look or whatever they're doing, and, oh yeah, nobody's going to like you, oh this and this, but you're saying it while you're on their page and see how many are actually watching and how many subscribers. And you're saying all that? Really? Make that make sense. I mean, really. And be careful what you say to people, because it will come back to you. I told you, Spirit's not playing. Whoever does something, instantly, you will know. Either you stop, or the next one, I don't know what will happen. Because they're tired of it. They're disappointed. They're not disappointed at us who are doing the best we can and trying to, do things and make it better. That's not who they're, disappointed about. They're tired of people not listening. Whatever happened to people speaking to each other? What happened? People learned from since they were little. Truth and lies, right and wrong. But what happened to the truth? What happened to the, doing something right? All we have now is, let's see, who could we, do revenge on? Who can we be jealous of and, spread lies? Oh, they're trying to take my man. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Women and women should be, helping each other. Okay? Right off the bat. Now, like I said, right off the bat, you shouldn't start blaming. It takes two. Okay? And you should never do revenge. It does take two. Now, first of all, if your man went to your best friend or whatever, well, it's like, hello, they didn't really like you to do something like that. Think before people do stuff. But anyway, I need to leave it here because I had to go do something because these how do you say it in Italian? Asinos, are trying to do something, but that's okay. Right back at them. Anyway, love all of you. Thank you. And I know number 1 and number 2 were kind of long, and sorry about that. And the one before part 1 was really long. I didn't mean that. And I hope that, you do listen all the way through. But anyway, it's up to you. But thank you, everyone, for being here, listening, and, you're supporting me just by being here. But thank you again, and everyone have a great day. Lovely day, sorry. Or evening, I should say. But, ciao.